Welcome back to Name, Image, and Log Snappers, your home, your spot for all things Carolina sports. My name is Evan Hale. Right over here we got Hayden Bannock. Now here we got Cody, the Banana Man. We got a special guest today, Travis Parks. He's been, a long time collaborator, separate from the page, but now we're getting him on talk some sports. Welcome, boys. How was y'all's week?
Travis, go ahead, man. What'd you do this weekend?
This past weekend, I was home for once, and I just watched ball all weekend and watched the NASCAR race. So that was fun. It's the first weekend in a while. I've just been chilling at the house and haven't had much going on. So I enjoyed that, and then was happy Chase won. I'm a Chase Elliott fan, so what a race. Was really happy to see him get the win. That was awesome. I'm an Auburn fan. For anybody new here, I'm not in the Carolinas. I'm in Alabama. So got to watch them make me rip my hair out against Texas A&M. But it was a fun weekend. And I'm also a Red Sox fan, so just got to see them beat the Yankees. So that was awesome.
There you go. My Tigers just won today, too. Cody's Reds are playing the Dodgers right now. But I did the same thing, man. I stayed at home, had 3 TVs going, watched a whole bunch of ball, a bunch of FCS ball. And then, of course, on the race Sunday, I was busy, doing some stuff. And couldn't watch the first race I missed in a very long time this season. And, of course, Chase Elliott wins because him and Hocevar are my drivers. So it's just, on schedule that Chase Elliott wins when I can't watch. But if that's the case, I just want to watch the rest of the year, and he wins the championship. So I might just go that route, But if you watch the replay, dude, it was overtime, and I knew he won, and I was like, where is he? I was like, he was nowhere, and he was like, I think he started 10th or 11th.
10th, yeah. It was crazy, man.
Unreal. Well, because Danny Hamlin, puts Bubba in the wall after he spins out Ty Gibbs the week before, but God forbid someone spins him out, but he's racing for a championship. So
God forbid. I don't watch NASCAR. That'll be very apparent in a little bit. That sounds like old school Joey Logano. That's what that sounds like to me. Is that what Hamlin's become?
Yeah, dude. I mean, Gibbs is out here running, and Danny's only thing that he was upset about was that he was racing for a championship. Is Gibbs not? I mean, I know Gibbs isn't racing for a championship, but is that not his job to
race hard?
Try to win? Yeah, I mean,
they pay him a lot of money to do.
Hear me out. It would be like in, let's say, the MLB. Let's say the Mets are playing Miami, and if the Mets win, let's say, this is actually a real example. If the Mets win, they get in the postseason. You think Miami's just gonna not play and just let the Mets go? No,
of course not.
And that's how Banana Man's Reds got in. Shout out the Miami Marlins doing something right for once. So I mean, my thing is, if you're gonna complain about getting spun, and then you turn around and 2 weeks later, you literally take out a guy that you literally own his team. I don't understand it. I mean, Travis? What are your thoughts on that?
I'm all my whole thing on it was I think he should go for the win. Yes, I got no issues with that, but the problem is the execution of the move. It's not him going for the win; it's the execution. It was a low percentage move. He drove way too hard into the corner and washed up and put the car in the fence, and hands the win to Chase Elliott. So obviously, I was happy about that. But it's I'm all for and everybody defending Denny's he's just going for the win. Well, yeah, he was going for the win, but it was a stupid move. It didn't work. So yeah, go for the win. But then if you go for the win and it doesn't work out, then you deserve to be criticized.
Yeah.
Back-to-back weeks. I mean, literally back-to-back weeks. Wrecking Gibbs and then, putting Butler in the wall.
This is the thing is, Hamlin has become what Kyle Busch was. Kyle Busch used to be the guy who would go and complain and then make a bad move and wreck somebody, but when it was to his benefit, it didn't matter. Denny's kind of turned into that guy where when he does something wrong and it benefits him, it doesn't matter. Or it's it doesn't really matter, but if he does something wrong and it doesn't, then it's someone else's fault. It's someone else's problem. It's something that someone else did. And it's not that he's always in that role, but it's just not fun when you have someone that makes a bad move and then always goes and blames it on someone else. And like you said, it was just a bad move. I understand racing for the win. You have to go for the win. It's the playoffs. You're racing for a championship. Let's be real. He doesn't have a lot of time left in his career. He's likely got a couple more years. He's probably going to end up hanging it up. So you're racing for that championship. You know you need it. You can't go out and just give someone else the win, even if it is literally your driver. So you gotta go for the win, but it was just a bad move. And I wish he would have taken a little bit more responsibility for it.
Instead of giving his driver the win, he gives a rival manufacturer the win.
Yeah.
So.
Hey, I don't have a problem with it. I hate Denny Hamlin, so we're chilling.
Hey, my thing is though, he wrecks two guys back-to-back weeks, and nothing happens. But God forbid Austin Dillon takes out Hamlin and Logano to make the playoffs. He gets the playoff spot taken away. He gets to keep the win, which doesn't make sense. But we don't have time for that tangent. I do want to talk a little about some FCS football because I stayed home, watched a whole bunch of ball.
I'm gonna make a comment real fast while we're on NASCAR.
Yeah,
We're just a little Carolina flair here. NASCAR adjacent. You know who Denny Hamlin obviously owns his team with? The guy who ruined this franchise. Michael Jordan ruined the Charlotte Hornets. I'm just gonna say he stopped trying to work with the Hornets when he got the NASCAR team. The second, bro, he's at every race. Yep. I could not tell you the last time he was at a Hornets game before we sold the team. I could not tell you. There's 82 of them things. There's 41 of them at home.
He got bored. He got bored.
He cared more about the oval than he did about the ball, okay? And it made me angry. And I just, you talked about Denny Hamlin being an owner, and I just looked over at my Hornet stuff sitting right there. I'm like, freaking Michael Jordan, man. I'm sorry. I had to get on my soapbox. We can talk about FCS football now.
It must be nice to have the kind of money where you can just get bored of owning one sports franchise and be like, I'm going to pay attention to this sports franchise I own instead.
That is the quintessential issue. Michael Jordan, great basketball player. He is at least the second greatest basketball player of all time. I don't want to, LeBron and Jordan, but they're both up there, right? One or two or one, whatever you want to do. Terrible owner. He bought the team as a vanity thing, hired all of his friends, all of his family to run the team, ran him straight into the ground, left him there, and then was like, I kind of want to watch NASCAR. And then he bought the team for not even $1 billion. I think he bought it for like $400 million. And I'll fact check that to be sure. He sold the team. Not even the whole team. He sold half of the team for $2.3 billion. He ran it so bad and then made $2 billion.
He did the same thing in I'm from the DC area. He did the same thing in Washington when he was in the front office. He's just
he bought it for $275 million. He sold it for $2.3 million. He made $2 billion to sell half of a franchise that he ruined to go race cars. And I like racing cars. It's fun. I grew up going to racetracks. He ruined my favorite basketball team. And I'm so glad he's only a partial owner now. Shout out Gabe Plotkin and Rick Schnall. I've met them both. Great dudes. You talked about Denny Hamlin being a partial owner, and it just lit a fire in me. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot that freaking dude went and bought a NASCAR team. I kind of just put it in the back of my head. I just had to get on my soapbox when we're talking about that. Hornets basketball is back on Sunday. I am so freaking excited. I will be there.
Oh, they're down in Charleston, right?
Down in Charleston. Me and Caleb, friend of the show, will be attending, not together, but Anyways, that's all I'll be talking about the Hornets today.
We'll talk about next week when you go to the game.
Next week when we go to the game.
There you go.
Tell me about some FCS football.
Yeah, dude, the Citadel. They're 2-1 in conference now with no NIL. They beat another team that does have NIL, and again, it's not a whole lot, but they actually went to UT Chattanooga and dominated. They looked great. They won 28-10, looked very impressive. The only time that they didn't look good in conference play was against Mercer, who's probably the number one team in the SoCon. So I really think the Citadel is, despite not having any NIL, is going to actually finish pretty solid in the SoCon. I love that. Another team that I watched, what's funny is I had the two big games on. It was Alabama, Georgia, Oregon, Penn State, and then I had South Carolina State and Charleston Southern. Just an incredible game. There was like 6,000 fans there. It was a sellout down at Charleston Southern. It was a great crowd. It looked amazing on TV. Charleston Southern kicked a field goal late to take the lead. Ended up getting the win. Charleston Southern got their first win of the year against South Carolina State, who is a really good HBCU program who really competes at the FCS level too. That's really all I got for some of the FCS I watched. I mean, obviously I watched the Georgia Tech game, which you were at, which was an unreal game.
Awesome
Just
game.
a whole lot of unreal. Yeah. So Charleston Southern had 6,211 fans. It's pretty solid for a small FCS school. But I just hope that they kept 2 feet on the ground. For those that don't know, Charleston Southern, if you're with someone of the opposite sex, you must have 2 feet on the ground at all time. All doors must be open. All lights must be on.
Oh my god.
Gotta love that. Gotta love that. Yeah, you kind of alluded to me going to the Wake Forest game. I was trying to find. I was looking to the side. There was more than 6,000 people at that game, but it wasn't that many more people than 6,000 people at the game. It did fill out late. And I will tell you, we're going to talk about both games. I attended 2 games on Saturday. I attended the noon kickoff, Wake Forest hosting Georgia Tech, and then I attended the nightcap game. It was 7 p.m. kickoff, NC State hosting Virginia Tech. 2 wildly different atmospheres, 2 wildly different programs. Both in the same conference, so it was interesting to see the dichotomy there. But I will say I enjoyed both atmospheres, and I like to say that every time you attend a stadium or attend a sporting event, at least me personally, I feel like I leave a part of myself there. I just feel like I'm always slightly connected to that program after, to any degree. I mean, Hayden, I know you've been to like every one of them, so it's a little different there. But every place you go to has such character. In Wake Forest, the atmosphere might not have been crazy until the end, but the character. You've been to Wake, right?
I've been to Wake a few times.
It is old. It's old, but it's like a cool old. It's too like half, like not like it's like the shape of a football, but you just cut the ends off, and the two wide parts just concrete. Like they felt like they're built in the 40s, built in the 30s. Maybe even older than that. Like it feels old. Those are your seats, and then they have since added an end zone spot, and then you have a hill on the other side. So they have
The hill's electric.
The hill is nice. The hill was kind of chill until the end.
We saw the hill at Virginia. Well, we know how that goes.
They at least had a wall. I'm going to tell the whole story. So Wake pulled out to a 17-3 lead going into halftime, which I did not see coming. We did our picks before. We also, I went with a guy named Logan. Logan, great guy. We did picks. I'm editing our video right now. It should be out here in like a couple days. It's just like I have like 2 hours of footage I got to go through. It's a lot. We did our picks on the video. Both were like, well, yeah, obviously Georgia Tech's gonna whoop it up because Haynes King is amazing. We love Haynes King. He's so much fun to watch. He looked so human. He could not run the ball. Wake Forest's defense looked really good, and then Robbie Ashford. He had the first 2 drives. He looked terrible. Maybe 3 drives. Like multiple third downs, he just sailed his receivers. Terrible throws. We were like talking bad about him on the videos, and then
Robbie Ashford playing bad football. I know a thing or two about that.
Death taxes and that, right? But then something changed. I don't know what it was, but he started running the ball, and oh my god, it opened something up, and then the defense started committing to the run because they're running the ball really well. He had a couple deep completions, like incredible catches. Good throws, like great throws on the run. He diced up Georgia Tech's defense. They go after that lead, and then the third quarter rolls around. Again, Wake stopped Georgia Tech, started driving down the field, and then he gets hurt, and they pull him. I forget who the backup was, but he's also a name I remember too. But he comes in. Oh my gosh, go!
I just want to point out while you're looking that up. We were watching the game, and when everyone started going to the hill at Wake, it just kind of had that bad juju, man.
Oh man, and I really, I just so we'll get to that, but he goes down. Backup quarterback comes in. They just run the ball because that's what everyone does when they put a backup quarterback in. Instead of just trusting him to maybe throw the ball once or twice, And they held him to 3, and then Georgia Tech start coming back, and they have another drive. So they go down, they score a touchdown. Georgia Tech does. Then Wake doesn't put Robbie Ashford back in. Quick 3 and out. Then they get another touchdown. But then Wake has a drive. Robbie Ashford comes back in. They get into field goal range. Doink the kick. Bummer. But then they immediately force a fumble on Haynes King, get back into field goal range, kick another field goal, take the lead. They are up. I think it's 20-23 at this point. And we're thinking like, oh, the up is going to happen because Wake gets a stop. So I'm like, oh, it's upset alert. So Wake just has to run the clock out, and they win the game. They have to get like a 2 first down, I think. So we leave our seats. We have, just whatever seats. We go to the hill. No security stop because you have to have a ticket to get on the hill, which is kind of dumb.
Yeah. It used to not be that way.
Nobody stopped us though. I think they all knew what was going on. So we get down to the hill, and then the student section, which Hayden had mentioned, find the student section when you get there because you're not going to find it. They kind of showed out. It was still small. Like there were 3 sections of student section. One of the sections was filled up. But God, every single one of them students came down to that thing, and they filled up the hill. So we're in it. And from what I understand, I went back and I watched the clip. It was 3rd down and like 5 or 6. It wasn't enough that they were going to get the first with an offsides, but they jumped offsides. Georgia Tech jumps offsides. So Robbie Ashford, who's come back in at this point and started to look good again, he thinks he has a free play. So he takes a shot because it was obviously he was offsides. I could see it from the end zone, and I couldn't see the line of scrimmage that well.
Oh, it was on TV. It was offsides.
He's like, I got a free shot here. So he took the deep ball because the receiver released kind of a bat there, like a Robbie Ashford kind of throw. But he's like, yeah, I got a shot. And then worse we just run on 3rd one. They don't call it. They punt the ball away. And their punter, Wake Forest punter, was really bad. He was really bad. He couldn't punt the ball further than like 30 yards. He boomed the punt. It went far. It went deep. But we know the final score of this game. Georgia Tech, Haynes King becomes the Haynes King we all know and love. Completed a couple passes, had a couple runs, getting a field goal range, but they didn't have any timeouts. So they pulled a Clemson. In the Clemson game, they run the offense off, run the kickers on with like 15 seconds left, line up the kick, they kick the kick, they go through like 2 seconds left. Wake, I think they took a fair catch on the kick and then ran one play and go to overtime. Tech gets the ball first. They score a touchdown. They kick the field goal. Wake gets the ball. First play from scrimmage. Touchdown on a handoff. Or maybe it was a screen. The running back scored a touchdown on like either a quick pass or a run. I kind of forget. We are in the entirety of the crowd essentially because it wasn't that big of a thing. Everybody who cared about this game was around us. And while this is all happening, I want to note, security was furious. They brought ropes out. They made 7 announcements over the intercom. Only permitted people allowed to enter the field. People who
they jinxed it.
Yeah, people who enter the field we met like force or something. Like, it was like they were being intense about it. They're pulling ropes out. Security guard is yelling at students. It's the whole thing, right? So, and that started like when it was 23-20, when like we thought they were going to win on regulation. Wake scores on a 1-play touchdown in overtime. Super hype. Everyone's freaking out. They're like, we're gonna go for 2. You got to go for 2 anyways. I mean, in my brain, I don't hate the call, just because you had all the momentum from the 1 play. It was hype. You're gonna have to, if you go to next overtime, you got to go for 2 anyways, right? It's gonna have to happen. You might as well just go for the win. Just do it. They get in pressure. Robbie Ashford throws the ball up. It's knocked down. I thought it was picked off, but looking back, it was knocked down. Game's over. 31-30 or
30-29, I think.
30-29, something like that. Potato, right? Heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking because at this point, Wake had not impressed me when I got there. But as I was there longer, the character of the stadium was nice. I actually saw the fans like get into it. Our friend Gray, who was at Coastal, he is now the guy there. Apparently, our assistant AD or something. Somebody left to go to Wake.
Yep. Cliff Bonner.
Yeah, for everyone who's attended a Coastal game, it was like I was in the Twilight Zone. They had the same intro, the same hype songs, the same narrator for the hype video. They had the same boxes that they used for the fire. They brought a motorcycle out. They played motorcycle sounds. They had the Gentleman Start Your End. It was identical. It was really freaky. They used all the same songs. It was like I was like I said it felt like the Twilight Zone. And I'm like, who stole from who? I did not know he left. We saw Gray after, like around halftime, and he told us all that stuff. I'm like, oh, that makes more sense.
Now, Wake Forest has always had the motorcycle. I've been going to Wake
Yes.
Forest games since like 2006. So
Yeah.
that one, that's the OG. The Deacon runs out on the Harley. It's so
And
badass.
I knew that was
Yeah.
awesome because they bring like the guest of honor on the back of the bike,
Yep.
and then he rides back out at the start of the fourth quarter to get the guys going again. But the motorcycle, a lot of people ride motorcycles out. That's not the thing.
Yeah.
It is everything else, all the videos, all the everything. It was very, very, very weird from somebody who has attended a lot of Coastal games. Super fun though, great environment, great atmosphere. But I think it was because of the game we were attending and how close it was. If it was like just like a random nooner against anybody else, I could see the crowd. The crowd still wasn't great, but it was the experience of the game. You know what I'm saying?
Wake Forest is known to play some really good games. Every time I've been, I'll never forget. There was one time they played Miami, and this is back in the late 2000s, and Wake Forest was not good at football. Miami was amazing at football still. If I'm not mistaken, Wake Forest got up 20. It was either 27-0 or 27-7. Like Wake had a unreal lead against a really good Miami team. Miami came back, took the lead 28-27. Wake tried like a 50-some yard field goal. It was short. Miami won. I went to a Utah State game there one time, and oh god, the quarterback Logan, last name Logan maybe. He plays in the NFL.
Jordan Love.
Jordan. No, it wasn't Love. I'll remember that. I swear his name was Logan. I can't remember. But dude,
at Utah State.
At Utah State.
Jordan Love.
I can't remember if it was Jordan Love.
He's quarterback in the NFL at a Utah State. It's Jordan Love.
Yeah. What year did he go? What year did he go?
It was the only time Wake Forest has ever played Utah State at Wake Forest.
If there was a quarterback in the NFL whose name is Jordan and came from Utah State, it's Jordan Love.
Yeah, but that game was unreal. Wake Forest is known to play some unreal games. I've seen NC State there.
It was Jordan Love. It was Jordan Love. You saw Jordan Love play in college. It's kind of nuts.
Yeah, that's awesome. Actually,
he was 33 for 48, 416 yards, 3 tuds, but 3 picks and Wake won it.
Yes.
That's hype, man. That's awesome.
He threw a pick at the end, and Wake Forest sealed it. Yeah, it was unreal back and forth game. I've been to some of the games where they beat NC State there. I've seen Georgia Tech play a couple times there. If I'm not mistaken, I've seen Navy play. I've been to a whole bunch of Wake Forest games. But like you said, when you go to these schools, it's about the environment. When I go to games, unless it's Miami or Coastal, Michigan, I really don't care about the outcome. Like at the Citadel, I had one of the best times ever at the Citadel. Oh, if I didn't look at the scoreboard, I would have no idea it was a 38-point game. Would have had no idea.
Yeah.
So it really is about the environments. It's really cool. Wake Forest is super unique. Like I said, it's very small. It's a very small private Baptist school. But
Wake's got a solid basketball program too. That always seems like it'd be a fun place to go see a game.
I want to go there. Believe that we parked in the basketball parking lot when we got there. They're all very close. They're off campus, but they're close to the campus. Like it's off campus, but like you could walk if you needed to.
I have been at a court storming at Wake Forest against none other than the number 2 undefeated Miami Hurricanes.
Very nice.
Yeah, I mean, you got.
Was that like 2013? I think
it was. It was 2013.
Shabazz Napier. I remember that team.
Yeah, Shabazz Napier was awesome, dude. I mean, you got guys who came out of Wake Forest. I mean, obviously Hornets guy, Muggsy Bogues. You got John Collins. Obviously, you got Tim Duncan, Chris Paul. You got a lot of guys who came out of there. Josh Howard. I mean, Jeff Teague. Shout out Jeff Teague. I work with the Hawks now, dude. But I mean, like, there's a lot of. I'm looking at this list here. There's a lot of names. Jake LaRavia, James Johnson. I mean, you got a lot of guys, and it's on the list. I think we're gonna be. The Clash will be attending at least one game up there this year. Either Miami or Louisville. It looks like we're looking at. So maybe both. Shout out Gray. He's gonna be hooking up with some tickets. But shout out Alfariq Aminu.
Hey, random fun fact for the Wake Forest football game you're at. The kicker at Wake Forest, and I was talking to you about this. Connor Calvert. is 5 for 8 on field goals this season. All 5 makes have been within 22 and 29 yards.
Yeah, they're kicking. Their special teams suck because their punter sucks. Their kicker sucks.
No,
Like,
he was solid. I mean, he was solid. Like the ones he made, I mean, a great distance. And he doinked. He did doink.
It was so loud. I got it on video. It was so loud. Like it was loud. And
he doinked it from like 32 yards, I think.
Yeah, no,
31 maybe.
It sounded like he had a gong.
Yeah.
You guys talking Wake, Winston-Salem, Clash, and all made me think, by the way. You guys going to Bowman Gray for the Clash next year?
I will be there.
I don't know. Because we're gonna get into NASCAR talk in a minute. I am not a NASCAR guy, current NASCAR guy. I got to get into it again. You guys are gonna get me into it. I won't talk as long about the next one. I feel like Wake, because the game was more exciting, I wanted to talk a little bit more. And I think less people have attended games at Wake or know. I knew a lot less about Wake than I did about NC State going in. So I wanted to talk about that. We left the Wake game. It was overtime, so we were kind of worried. We had a time budget, is what I kept saying. We had a time budget. Well, thank God it was one overtime. It was quick. I would have preferred them just convert the 2-point conversion and win, but that's how it goes sometimes. So we leave
but then
there.
you would have stormed the field and you would have never left.
Yeah, you would have been caught in the storm.
We said we would no. It would have been faster for us to leave because the concourse was packed because everyone was mad and we were all leaving together. We said we had a plan. We were like, we're gonna storm the field really fast. We're gonna get in there. We said we're gonna get in. We're gonna touch the logo and we're gonna leave. We had a meetup spot and we were gonna record it all. I got mics. We were mic'd up. We were gonna have a good time. I was gonna have audio for both of us. It's gonna be great. Get in and get out. We did not get that. Everyone was mad. They all left at the same time, angry, and it took us forever to leave that stadium. Thank God, where I parked, we could leave quick because we avoided the traffic because we walked faster than most of the crowd once we got out of the stadium. But yeah, no. Also, the ACC huddle was there. Like it was like ACC's game day. That sucked, dude. It sucked. The crowd was all Wake band and cheerleaders, and that was it. I was like, oh, this is where everyone's gonna be at walking in. I'm like, that's where I would be at if they came to Coastal. That's where I would want to hang out at. Dude, there was like 12 people there, and most of them were Georgia Tech fans. It was a majority Georgia Tech fans that I interacted with before the game. But we ended up, the side we came in on was different than the side that it seemed like the Wake organized, tailgates were at. They had like a live band out there. It was kind of nice. We were already in the stadium, like, well, this kind of sucks out here. Let's just get in the stadium and check out the stadium. Also had one of the best barbecue sandwiches of my life in there. It was amazing. I took a picture of the name. I can't think of it off the top of my head. But if you're at Wake Forest, just go get a barbecue sandwich. You'll smell it. You'll know where it is.
Was it red, white, and pig?
No, the one who's there, it was their brand new business. I talked to the guy's name who runs his name is Evan. So he was like, oh, we got a cool name. But he said it was their first year having the restaurant was like, it's their first calendar year. And that was their first year at Wake, obviously. And cool, good people, good food. Anyways, so we leave the stadium. We leave the stadium. We get out quick. It ended up being an hour and 40 minutes because there was an accident. We had to detour. We get up to NC State. Like I said, NC State given Logan tickets as a high school coach. It's like a thing. And they put us in a section. It was a weird section. It was caddy cornered. It was there you have like the upper bowl, lower bowl, and then it curves, and the student section's on this side, and it's like a little caddy corner. And we were in folding chairs. It was kind of weird, but it was a kind of a vibe too. Like everyone there was like just big NC State fans. But God, I knew about like that they had good fans at NC State. I knew it was like a decent sized stadium. Nothing, it's not huge, but it's like a solid stadium. You know what I'm saying? Like there are obviously bigger stadiums, but it is arguably the quintessential college football experience to attend there, to go there. It was, the student section was so engaged. You could tell where the student section stopped because of the engagement. They did not sit down the whole entire game. They were standing the entire time. When it gets third down, they say third down, and they start doing this dance. The whole student section doing this the entire third down. It's so hype. They're screaming. It's so much fun. They have all these cheers, all these chants. They do like a crop duster flyover every game. And there's like 4 of them there. I guess they're all ex-military or something. That's what the guys were telling me. So I'm getting this information from people. But they come in like at like perpendicular to the field, and then they come in and they split up and they all do like loops and stuff. It's really, really cool. The band was great. Wake Forest's band had like 12 people in it. NC State's band, huge. It was awesome. They did designs. They did. Remember when Ohio State went viral? Like probably like 8 or 9 years ago when they did like the Superman and all the stuff, right? With like the shape. They did that performance there. It was kind of crazy at halftime. The band was good. Vibes were good. Environment was good. They had like the red lights that come on and they like all the LEDs. It's the fans were loud. The game was close, and I was so bought in. I was drinking the Kool-Aid. All the people around us were big NC State fans. And then I was disappointed because they lost because they played like garbage at the end, and it was so disappointing. I got to see CJ Marable drop a pass. Shout out CJ Marable. I missed that guy. The game was good. Both games were close. It was a combined, I don't know, my camera's not focused. It was a combined 3 points between both games for like point differential. That's obviously good. I also picked NC State to win that game. They did not. They looked really bad. CJ Bailey, they kept being in like 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, and they would just like put him at like in shotgun to hand the ball off. He's 6'7". Just put him under center, let him sneak it. They did it once and they got like 4 yards. I'm like, just do that. I don't know. What's his name? Hollywood Smothers. Dude is amazing. Such a good running back. He's going to be a guy that you didn't hear about in college because NC State sucked, and then he's going to be in the league in a couple years. You'd be like, this guy's amazing. Why did I not know about him in college? I don't know where Cody went, but he'll be back, I guess. If you'd have not watched NC State game, I'm assuming you have. If you're watching this, just watch one. Just watch him play. Watch a quarter. He's their entire offense. He's so good, so good. Virginia Tech, I don't know what happened, how they look so decent. I think it's just that NC State sucks, or maybe it was the coach's fault. I don't know. They ran the ball well, they threw the ball well. It was cool to see them play. I hadn't seen any of these teams play that I saw on Saturday. The only ACC team I've seen play football was Virginia, so I got to add 4 new ACC teams, collecting them like Pokemon. I'm kind of excited about that. And then I got home at 3 a.m, and I got up at 5 to leave. So it was a 22-hour day of driving and football, and I don't know if I would do it again. It was a blast. I might. I was just the next day I was so tired. I was worried. I've been like eating healthier. I've been doing better. I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna have fun and just enjoy what I just have a good day. I've been eating so well. I'm like, one day is not gonna kill me, dude. I ate like 2 things the whole day because we were just going the whole time. We were just if we weren't contenting, we were driving or watching football. Like it was just go. I woke up the next day at like 2 p.m. and I'm like, I'd never do this in my life. And then my Panthers were losing like garbage, and I felt hungover. I didn't drink any alcohol. Like it's just how it was.
You got to acclimate, man. You got to get ready to do those trips. We're doing that for 4 straight days. But NC State's atmosphere, I mean, I swear, I've been there many times. I've seen them play Georgia Tech, Maryland, UNC, Miami a few times. I've never seen Miami win there because I just don't see Miami win. Maybe we can add Miami to your list of ACC teams in December. Hopefully,
awesome.
We should know on Saturday. But man, the environment at NC State though, they can be 0-11, and it's gonna be packed out, and
off campus. That's the crazy part.
It's packed out, and it's not that big. It's only maybe 50,000 seats, maybe.
I think it's 55. I think maybe tops.
Yeah. But hey, that environment, the crowd there, you would think if you didn't know any better that they'd be 11-0 and a top 10 team in the country.
They've only had 1 10-win season ever.
Yeah, they haven't won the ACC. They won the ACC in a hot minute. They didn't even win the ACC when Phil Rivers was there.
I know. Could you imagine that atmosphere if they were like contenders? Could you imagine if they had like an Ohio State roster for a year? If they had gotten Bryce Underwood at quarterback, could you imagine? That place Raleigh would cease to exist. The energy, it would cause an explosion. Like it's off campus, and like I'm gonna say this as someone who's like been around people. Like I've been to both Duke and North Carolina basketball games in March Madness. there are four power conference teams in the ACC in North Carolina, which is in North Carolina in general. Wake, Duke, and NC State are all like blue collar, not like blue collar, like wear your button ups, wear your sweater vests, just like
Ooh,
posh.
NC State's kind of redneck.
NC State is redneck. They're like normal people. It was awesome. Going from Wake to NC State was like I got hit by a bus. Like it was awesome.
Yeah, like you said. I mean, because I grew up going to tons of games there, man. Like the UNC basketball, I've sat in the student section. I actually saw Miami win that time. Sat courtside, saw Miami win. I've actually never seen Miami lose in the Dean Dome. Unreal stat for my history, but the atmosphere there is is historic because it is UNC. It is the Dean Dome, but it's not electric, man. People are sitting down. The students would go at it. The students go crazy, but everyone's sitting down. It's an older crowd. It's you're wearing dress shoes, dress pants, a nice polo, a nice sweater. You got the diamonds on. Like it's not what I think of when I think of college athletics, which makes it unique. However, downtown Franklin Street.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
Oh, if you have a bad time there, you're just not a good person.
Yeah, what is it like? Argyle is like the name of the diamond. It's like a sweater vest design that's on all of their stuff. Like that is the quintessential North Carolina. And then Duke is a little bit more have some fun, be free. But I think those are more the outside fans. Those aren't people who attend the college. If you go to Duke,
right,
you are very much like that. You are very much. I sat when I went to the Duke game. All the March Madness games I've gone to. If you go to a March Madness game, just take my advice, because if you go to a whole set, you go to 2 games or 4 games depending on how you do it. Fans only show up for their team half the time.
I was gonna say that, like, because especially in Carolina, like it relates. A couple years ago, Auburn was playing in Greenville, and it was Duke versus Michigan State, and it was packed. And then Auburn was playing Miami right after that game.
Yep.
So, but after I bought like top row of the arena, and it was awesome for Duke Michigan State. Crowd was electric, and Duke won, and that place emptied out. Like I sat right behind Auburn's bench for the Auburn Miami game. Unfortunately, Auburn got their teeth knocked in that game with a great team, but
dude, I sat dang near courtside for UConn, Oklahoma. I was the closest seat that wasn't courtside. It was incredible. Same thing.
This guy's probably seen a Miami win more recent than I have, actually.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I've only seen Miami play once, and they're 1-for-1. So.
That's hilarious.
I mean, that was a great Auburn team too, because we had Jabari Smith and Walker Kessler on that team, like 2 first-round picks, and Miami knocked our teeth in that game. That was rough.
I think Auburn, were they the 4 seed? 5?
We were a 2 seed.
2? Oh shit! That's
yeah.
Right. Mine was.
That was
10.
a good team. I mean,
10,
Jabari Smith is the highest drafted Auburn player of all time. The third. Yep. He's got drafted higher than Charles Barkley did.
Yeah, and like Jabari Smith and Walker Kessler played terrible in that game against Miami that year, and Miami just steamrolled them.
I'll never forget the day of the NBA draft that year. I was so sure Jabari Smith was going number 1. That's what all the outlets were saying, what everyone was saying. And then all of a sudden it's like Paulo's going
the odds went crazy that day, because like Jabari was like minus 500 to be the number 1 pick like that morning, and then it just shifted to Paolo out of nowhere.
And I love Jabari Smith Jr. Would not have been the pick at 1.
Paolo ended up being the right pick for sure.
So good. So, but I've been in to get back to where we were. I've been in I've snuck down for both of the games. I've been in the I guess they were the close seats of the rich seats for Duke and for UNC, and the people around me were in khaki pants. They were in sweater vests. One had a tie on. I'm like, you can't wear a tie to a basketball game. That shouldn't be allowed. I don't want coaches to wear ties to basketball games. Like it's not the 80s anymore. You're not Pat Riley out there. Like, you're not Pat Riley coaching out there. Let's just reel her back in a little bit. Maybe go and have some fun. They were like, woo, like I watched Cooper Flagg put his nuts on someone's face, and the crowd was not that hype. I was like, oh my god, this is crazy. Like, this is nuts. And that the NBA talent that I saw at that game is ridiculous. All the games I went to the session. I mean, obviously, just the Duke team alone, Concanipple, shout out Hornets. You got Cooper Flag, come on, Molywatch. I mean, those are guys that all went in the top 10. You know, you had other guys, Harris Proctor went, you know, all these guys. Sion James, also Hornets. I got to see Lee McNeely play for the UConn, also Hornets. I saw 3 of the 4 Hornets picks that day, which is freaking awesome. Jeremiah Fears, he played. Is that? Oh, obviously VJ Edgecombe played for Baylor. Oh my God, you know, the 3rd pick in the draft, VJ Edgecombe, so good. It was incredible. We are 40 minutes in talking about March Madness from last year, but I just wanted to talk about it.
Dude, I was at the Final Four. I got to see the collapse. Because Auburn, because I was there for Auburn. Like, we were the first game, and then I got to see Duke Houston, and that collapse in like the last minute was like one of the craziest basketball games I've ever watched.
I was in my bed like, there's no way they lose this game, right? There's no way. Like, and it was weird because my fiance is a North Carolina fan, and she kind of like fell in love with that Duke team, which is she's like, I never thought I'd root for a Duke team. She's like, seeing them play in person, like she liked all the Cooper Flag commercials, like watching sports and stuff. He was in everything with NIL, you know. And I'm like, one of these guys might end up being a Hornet, so she kind of locked in on that. She was sad they lost. I'm like, this is crazy because she hates Duke.
Dude, the Alamo Dome was like packed with Houston fans, like, and it was like, they kept them at arm's length the whole game, and like when the Houston fans came alive, like you could feel the shift in the stadium. It was like, oh my God, like the Houston fans came alive. It was insane.
What are those tickets run? If you don't
we were sitting up like top of the stadium. I paid like $350.
That's not that bad, honestly, for Final Four.
Hear me out though. Get this. So I went in 2023 in Houston. It was actually the first time I've ever been to a men's March Madness game, and it was San Diego State hit the buzzer beater against FAU in game 1.
No way.
Yep.
That is the first men's March Madness game I've ever attended, and it's a buzzer beater in the Final Four. Can't ask for anything better. And then UConn just went. They did whatever they wanted to against Miami.
Was that the Toyota Center, or was that in the football?
It was at NRG Stadium.
NRG, so first Texans. Yeah. Okay.
But I sat directly at midcourt, upper deck, first row, and I know it was directly midcourt because the NCAA kept coming right next to me to take pictures because I was like my ass was on the line for midcourt.
That's awesome.
I paid $129.
No way. That's good.
That's what happens. Like, because like this year it was like it was Auburn, Florida, Houston, Duke, and it was just like huge fan bases. Like the market was, but like that year you had like FAU and San Diego State, Miami. Like, yeah, I wish when Auburn made it, like ours would have been a little cheaper if we got some upsets. But unfortunately, it had to be all 4 1 seeds with huge fan bases when we made it. So we had to pay a pretty penny.
All the 1 seeds there. It was like. That never happens. It was like a weird, like, I don't think it had ever happened before, or maybe like in like the 80s, but like it had been a long time if it did.
It's like any other year that Auburn team last year, like we probably would have won the national championship, and we just had to run into a juggernaut Florida team and just an insane Final Four. We had to run the gauntlet if we were going to make that happen.
Yeah.
Well,
go ahead.
Well, Florida was down by 10 or 15, and I'll never forget, I remember thinking, and I was like, oh, Florida's got them where they want them. Because that whole tournament, Florida was getting down 10, 15, 18 points. And they flip a switch, and they're up by 10.
The longer they played, the better they got, though, like the whole tournament.
And they held Broome scoreless like the last 16 minutes of the game. That's what really killed us.
Yeah, no, I mean, so I'll tell you, I saw Florida play, too. They were the other team, Walter Clayton. He had such a good run. He was so much fun to watch. And his hype started with that first game. It was Norfolk State. I was kind of bummed that I was hoping that Mike Vick was going to be there, but he wasn't there. I was around all their fans, and they were really cool. All the fans were awesome. And the band, HBCU bands hit different. It was incredible.
Oh, yeah.
But I left that game. I mean, Florida had a big lead, like going, like, you know, at half, but they let Norfolk State come back. Like, it wasn't like a game. Like, it was like, oh, they're going to lose. But, like, it got close enough that I'm like, they don't look that good right now. And then UConn, they almost lost to UConn. And I remember saying after I left, because I was only at the first round, I'm like, Florida might get like beat early. I said that to like multiple people. I'm like, Florida might lose early, and then they go and win the championship. I'm like, oh.
Tech had them on the ropes too.
Yeah.
Like,
I think
Yeah.
every team that they played, like all 6 games.
I mean, that just shows how deep. That's one thing about NIL is I think it's made the tournament better just because, or NIL in the transfer portal for that. Football is like kind of annoying, but basketball is such like a small roster that you can't just accumulate talent like that. So guys want to play, and you have more exposure at that level. So like guys get drafted from mid majors all the time, so they're going to go where they're going to play and they have a chance. And it has made the tournament like I feel like any team could lose. Like I think we're gonna see a lot more 1 seeds get upset in the coming years because of that.
Would be electric. Speaking of 1 seeds, our guy Chase Elliott, he's locked in for the next round. Ryan Blaney is locked in for the next round. I want to ask you because we're not gonna talk a whole lot about the Roval. Neither one of us are going. The only reason why I'm not going is because for the 4th time ever, the Miami Dolphins are playing at Carolina, and it's the 4th time ever in franchise history. So I can't miss it, unfortunately. So, but Joey Logano, Chase Briscoe, kind of flirting around the cutoff. I think Ross Chastain ends up sneaking in. I think he's going to get the last spot in either over Briscoe or Logano. Do you think that Briscoe and Logano hang on, or do you think maybe Bubba Wallace, Ross Chastain, one of those guys kind of sneaks in?
well, we know Cindric, Wallace, Reddick. You can pretty much put all 3 of them in must-win territory. As far as Logano, like a lot of like qualifying is going to be huge for this race because if you're Logano and Chastain, they're both like we know how the strategy goes on road courses where you stay out for stage points, or you chase to win. So Logano and Chastain are both probably going to be on the same strategy where they're chasing points and they're not chasing the win. So this is going to be huge. Like qualifying between, especially the 1, the 22, the 19 is going to be huge because if one of those guys qualifies poorly and they're not up front at the end of stage 1, end of stage 2 because they're behind the 8 ball and things are going to get strung out, they're going to be in trouble. Whereas if you qualify up front and you're one of those guys, you have a good chance to stay out and win stage 1, win stage 2, or finish highly in those stages, and you're going to rack up some points and cut that deficit quickly. So that's like qualifying is going to be insane, and like to me, that's what this is going to come down to. Because if let's say Chastain starts front row, second row, and Logano starts deep in the field. Well, Chastain's going to have a lot more of an opportunity to stay out and win these stages at the Roval, and he'll cut that points deficit quick to Logano. So I think qualifying is going to be the huge part of this. And I think Logano probably holds on because he has run well here at the Roval the last few years, and Chastain hasn't. Even though you typically think of Chastain as a better road course racer than Logano, but Logano has qualified and run okay at the Roval, and I think that's the key for Logano. If he can start somewhere near the front and get some stage points, him and Briscoe, you can put them both. But Briscoe's really good on road courses, so I think Briscoe is going to be fine. But as far as Logano, I think he can start well enough that he'll be in position to get some stage points. And if him and Ross are both running the same strategy, chasing stage points, and they can kind of cancel each other out, it's going to be hard for Ross to make up that deficit. But we know he's just going to have this both of those guys and Brisk, anybody on that cut line really is going to have to stay out of trouble. And yeah, and then as far as the other 3 who are must win territory, the going for a win. I mean, it's hard enough to be in must win territory, but now you're in must win territory going to the Roval, and we know how unbeatable SVG has been at the road courses this year. So it's going to be really tough for one of those guys because now you're going to a road course, and if you're in a must win, you got to outrun SVG for that, and that's a tall task.
SVG is undefeated at road courses this year, correct?
He's 4 for 5. He didn't win Coda.
Okay.
Yeah, he Christopher Bell won Coda earlier this year, but SVG's won the last 4.
Yeah, so 80% win rate. I mean, it's pretty solid. Now, I've never watched the Roval, but it's not like a traditional, Sonoma, Watkins Glen. how hard is it to pass if you start in the back? How hard is it to make up ground at the Roval?
So it all comes down to the restarts if you're deep, because obviously, especially going in, like, turn one's always crazy at the Roval, and there's a lot of passing zones too, and they have a new hairpin in the infield that they added last year that helped the racing. So there are some passing zones, but if you can't make up that ground at the Roval in the first 2-3 laps after the restart, you pretty much are where you are. It's not like, and it's like that with most road courses where, like, things are going to get pretty strung out and it's really hard to make up ground. So you're gonna if you're starting deep in the field and you're one of those guys who needs points, you're gonna have to be super aggressive going into one on those restarts when you get the opportunity, and that's what it's going to come down to for those guys who, if you qualify bad and you need points in this race, you're going to see those guys, Logano, Chastain, Briscoe, if he's in that position, making some crazy moves going into turn one, because that's your best bet to make up ground there at the Roval.
Yeah,
So
I'm kind of disappointed I can't watch it, but I mean, obviously I'll be at the Dolphins game. Eli will be there, so we'll see if he remembers it. Eli has a tendency to kind of drink a little too much, and but I think he's gonna be responsible. So we'll see his intake on it when he gets out there.
I got a quick question as like a NASCAR casual, or used to be in a NASCAR, but now I'm not. You notice, like, you guys are also football guys, how important special teams has been this year for the NFL, like a lot of blocked field goals, blocked punts. Has qualifying become more important with the stages? Kind of how special teams become more important?
Absolutely, because of how hard it is to pass with this car. Because that's, like, track position is huge with this car. It's just hard. If you start deep in the field, it's hard to make up ground. I mean, I've been complaining about it. I know Hayden knows, as a Chase Elliott fan all year. That's been Chase Elliott's bugaboo, is they unload slow, they qualify poorly, and he has to make up ground like every week. And you finally saw it this weekend. Like, Chase finally had a good qualifying and qualified fourth and ran up front all day. And you see what happens. Like, when you unload fast, you qualify up front, you put yourself in position to win the race. Like, if you qualify deep in the field, it is so hard to make up ground in this car, especially at a road course. Like, if you go to a road course and you go to the Roval this weekend and you're not starting in the first few rows, you got an uphill climb all day in front of you if you're expecting to go out and win this thing. So track position, especially at a road course, which will be emphasized this weekend, is everything. That's what qualifying is like. I don't sit down and watch qualifying as a fan every week, but this will be a weekend to watch qualifying, because qualifying is going to be massive for this race.
I remember watching when I was younger, but it was more like when you qualified, it was like, oh, you have a whole race to make up your track position, and it was more if you qualified bad, you're at a higher risk of getting in a bigger crash, like, getting pulled into something nasty, than if you're in the front. But in all intents and purposes, like, let's say you wreck on your qualifying and you guys start in the back, you have a whole race to get up to where you need to be at the end of the race, where that matters.
That's just not, that's just not the case with that's just not the case with this car, because it's like pretty much any track, and like I said, especially road courses, it's like you got to make up ground on restarts. Like, that's where that, like, obviously we saw that's how Elliott won the race. Like you can make moves on the restarts, but once things get strung out in this car, like, it is like the arrow is so bad that, like, you're kind of stuck where you are. So, like, if you don't qualify well, you're digging out of a hole all day in this, in just the way these races are now.
Which is good, because it makes every aspect of the race matter, including the qualifying. Which is like talking about special teams being important to football. It was like, oh yeah, if you got in a field goal range at the end of the game, it didn't matter. You're going to win more than likely. Like, you very rarely miss those game-winning field goals. Now they're getting blocked. Now qualifying matters more than ever, which I think is cool. It adds every aspect. You have to be ready for every aspect of the race, every aspect of the game, which is, that makes it more entertaining and more chaotic for the fans to watch.
And I don't think that rings true at any type of racetrack more than a road course.
Oh, for sure. Even like I said, I haven't watched NASCAR in a while, and I know a road. There was like, last time I watched NASCAR, there was 2 road courses, and that was
yep.
That was just the 2, and I'm like, but those were like some of my favorite ones to watch. I remember Paul Montoya used to do really well with those back in the day.
Yep.
He used to tear those up. What is it, Target 42 car?
Yeah,
was
the 42. Yeah, he had the Target. He had the well, actually, Target might have been Larson, or I think it was Larson in the Target one. I know he might have had
it was red. It was red. I remember
he did have the big red.
I just remember
Chewing
him
gum.
blowing up the car, blowing up the
Yep.
jet car at Daytona on a Monday night, 2 in the morning.
But with at the road courses now, it's like going like I don't have FanDuel pulled up like right this second, but like if you look and like we haven't even qualified yet, SVG is probably like he
Yeah.
might be minus money already going into the weekend because he has just dominated these road courses so much in the last few months. Like we've never had at any type of racetrack going into a weekend.
Minus 110.
Yeah, like, and that's going into the weekend. He is such a heavy favorite going into these
Wow.
races with how well he's been able to execute. Like, I mean, he won Mexico City by 18 seconds and he won Watkins Glen by like 12. Like,
They're
he's
racing
not
in
just
Mexico
going
City
and
now?
winning these races, he is dominating these races.
I didn't know they were racing Mexico. That's how out
Yeah.
of the loop I am. He's minus 110. The next closest person is Christopher Bell, plus 800. That's
Wow.
crazy. That's like
Yeah,
a 1,000-point swing. That's crazy. NASCAR, I think I might have just got bought in right now, but it's a little late. Like we're playoffs now, but I mean, never too early to start.
It's getting down to it. Like, it's a fun time to start watching. Like,
Yeah.
round
I
of
don't know
eight
who I'm a
the
fan
next
of.
week, and Talladega's in the round of 8. Like this year, like it's going to be insane.
Who's a cool driver? I need to be a fan of somebody.
Oh, Carson Hocevar.
Chase Elliott.
Yeah, Chase Elliott though for sure. Chase Elliott. Hocevar, I love him to death. He hasn't got a win yet, but man, he's fun. He's fun to watch, man. He pushes that car to the limits, and he'll blow him up. And he ain't afraid to spin you. Or I was at the Darlington race, man, and golly, man, they were actually, some of the drivers were complaining because he wasn't in the playoffs and he was racing hard and everything. He spun out, then he comes down pit road and on the caution, gets turned around, had to pit backwards,
That's awesome.
then proceed to turn his car back around, start towards the rear. He ended up finishing ninth. But kind of my last two tidbits on this subject. One, if you get the first overall pick, if you just so happen your name is the number one on the wheel, congratulations on getting the win for that round because you're going to pick SVG. Two, like I said, qualifying, even in late models, big Dale Earnhardt, junior fan, obviously. Qualifying is massive, even in late models. You're only racing 100, 125, maybe 150 laps. And junior qualifies a lot of the time, 15th at best, usually around 22nd, mid 20s, but he'll still finish top 10. I mean, he'll pass the most cars out there, but it's just qualifying. It's just been juniors, deficit the
You're
last
not
2
racing the
years.
track
Really.
all that often, So I mean, it's I guess when you're doing the late model runs, it's not like you're at these big tracks anymore. You're at these smaller tracks where these guys who are locals have a lot more experience. I know he's running like some that are like tours, but a lot of times he's just like popping in on guys who this is their home track and they know
Oh,
the
yeah.
track. Like
Well,
that.
no,
You
he
got to
just-
be a super aggressive driver to qualify well because you have to be able to push the car right to and like the speeds and because everybody's running the same car pretty much now. Like, I mean, obviously there's like the top teams have better stuff and better aero advantages, but like the qualifying speeds, like you can pretty much throw a blanket from the first to 25th in qualifying most weeks. So like you have to be able to push that car like right to the edge in
Yeah.
qualifying right now to with how close the speeds are in these cars. You have to run it right on the ragged edge and that's been and Chase has talked about that himself is like he's never qualified well because that's not his MO is he's not a super aggressive driver and doesn't push the car to the absolute limit. And you see like that and that's why he has like the least amount of DNFs, the highest average finish, the most amount of lead lap finishes this year because he's that kind of driver. But then where that comes back on you is qualifying because you're just not aggressive enough to outdrive some of these guys in qualifying.
And even at late model too, is that a lot of the guys that are aggressive wear down their tires. Junior is great on tire. He I swear to God, man, it's unreal. Just watching him the last 25 to 50 laps, he just saves tires and then he just starts blowing by people. Like if the late model races were about 20, 25 laps longer, some maybe 50, he probably gets up to the front in most cases. He's been phenomenal on that. If he can just get down the qualifying, it'd be great. But hey, I mean, to only go out there, he does it once every so often. These guys are doing it every other week. Junior's like, I'm gonna go race this weekend.
And that's
casual,
and that's
casual top 10.
That's why he's been so good in the South Carolina 400, because that is a longer race, like you were talking
Yep.
about, and like that's the perfect kind of race for him, because he needs a longer race to save tires and make up that ground. He's been so great in the South Carolina 400 running that race the last couple years. Probably could have won the thing last year if he didn't have a mechanical failure. Like, he drove up to second and had a mechanical failure in South Carolina 400 last year.
Yeah. He's been doing great. Hey, so Evan, what do you say, man? You want to do some picks? We'll see if
I was gonna
Travis,
say
here's what Travis is going against, though. All right, we've only had 2 guest pickers. Not one has had a winning record yet. Our beloved Tegan Brown, WNBF News, went 4-5 last week. Week before that, we had Timmy from Snapback Sports, Timmy Cow 12. He went 3-6. So you just gotta go get a winning record, and you'll be in the first spot.
you got more freebies on the sport, I think, than they had.
Yeah, well,
And there was some upsets. There were some upsets. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We said we're gonna start this at 35 minutes. We're at an hour. I love it.
It happens.
Oh,
we were gonna do picks and then NASCAR. We went NASCAR and then picks. So I guess it kind of evens out. First game we got, I think it's a weeknight kickoff.
Yep.
We got Charlotte at USF. If USF loses this game, my God, what happened? Because Charlotte has not looked that good.
No.
USF has looked like a playoff team. So yeah, give me the Bulls by 1 million.
Yeah, Charlotte lost to Bill Bel. Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead. No,
I was saying Charlotte lost to Bill Belichick at North Carolina. So, like, if you lose to them, yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you're losing to North Carolina this year, you're a pretty shitty team.
Yeah, no, South Florida. I mean, they look good. I mean, they dominated Boise State. They beat Florida.
You should have won the game. They could be undefeated.
Well, yeah, if I would won the Miami game, they would be undefeated. But Miami looked amazing against them. But
yeah,
I'm going South Florida easily. It's going to be probably between them, Memphis, and Navy, probably for who wins the American and ultimately who gets the playoff spot.
Whoever wins the American is getting the playoff spot this year for sure.
I think we're all going South Florida on this one.
Yeah, so give me. I guess Charlotte's going to win it then, right? So let's go.
Right, Charlotte's going to win.
Speaking of Bill Belichick, our next game, an inter-Carolina matchup, we got Clemson at UNC. Oh my God, this is like the disappointing coaches of the years competing with each other. Man, if Clemson loses this game, Clemson might disintegrate. Howard's Rock might disintegrate, turn to sand. I don't know what to say. I mean, I have to go with Clemson here. If Clemson loses 3rd week in a row that I picked them, I don't know what I'm going to do. I will not pick Clemson again to win if they lose this weekend. And I will be a man of my word. If they lose this weekend, I will not pick them the rest of the season. I don't care who they play. I think they play Furman week 11. I will pick Furman to beat them. What a disappointing season for both of them. I looked at North Carolina's schedule to start the year. I'm like, if Bill gets them right, North Carolina plays a fluff schedule this year. They should have been like a 9-10 win season. They should have been closer to winning the ACC than where they are right now. It's embarrassing. I'm embarrassed, and I'm not even related to the organization. Give me Clemson.
Yeah, I'm a Patriots fan, so I was rooting for Bill coming into this year and was hoping he was going to do well. And I was really optimistic about it with the schedule too, but it's been a disaster. And on Clemson, I was going to ask you guys real quick, like, I tend to think the way things are going, the way Dabo is lashing out at the administration, fans, media, he's like, "Oh, fire me, find somebody better than me. I'll go." So I think, like, and I made this comparison a couple weeks ago. Like, it's reminding me of the end of John Calipari at Kentucky, where you just kind of knew the writing was on the wall, and it's like Clemson can't fire him. Like, the buyout's insane. But it was the same with Cal at Kentucky. He had a lifetime contract. They couldn't get rid of him. But it feels like a situation where I think this is going to be Dabo's last year at Clemson, and I don't think he's going to get fired, but I think he's going to find another job, and another school is going to beg him to come there because there's plenty of open jobs out there at schools
so much money in them. There's so much money in them.
Yeah, and there's plenty of schools that
I think he's going to Gainesville.
I can see it. Virginia Tech, like, because they're loading up on money too, and at Virginia Tech, they said that when they fired whatever the coach they just fired, his name is,
was it Brent Fry? Was it Fry?
Brent Pry.
Yeah.
whatever the name is, something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, and
Ryan
that's
Beamer.
but yeah, they're loading up on money. Like I think Dabo is going to end up leaving Clemson to take another job after this year. I think because they can't fire him, but it feels like that's a contentious situation at this point.
Yeah, no,
But
I think yeah.
But I'm picking Clemson for this game. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm also picking Clemson, which means we all went Clemson. Everybody that votes on this.
Oh my
So
god.
UNC is probably going to win. It's a nooner. Chapel Hill between a battle of probably bowl eligibility, which I can't believe we're saying that between this game. Both schools are underperforming. I kind of figured UNC would. It's really hard to come in and turn on a program with 70 new players in year one. So it's not really. It's more expected. It's not really a surprise. Some people are actually super shocked. It's really not. Clemson, however, it is a dumpster fire over in the upstate. It's bad over there.
Yeah, no, it's really bad. I'm gonna read the next matchup, but I also want to know how much tickets are to that game, just out of curiosity. So our next game, battle of teams I got just watched play, but against different teams. We got Wake Forest at Virginia Tech. I'm gonna be honest, both of these teams surprised me on Saturday. I kind of forget who I picked when I texted you our picks. Oh, I went with Wake. Um, you know, I think Wake is getting stuff together, getting stuff going. Um, I don't know what time the game is. I think it's a noon kickoff. Looking at our schedule, it being that early, we do it in order of when the games happen. I think it's a nooner. I think if it was a night game, Tech might have a chance, but I just think Wake has a little bit of momentum right now. They just played well against a good team. I think their offense looked good, their defense looked good this last game. They obviously fell apart, but I think that they're going to have a little momentum and they're going to go to Virginia Tech and they're going to win. That's that. I don't know.
You got Travis. Who you got?
I'm gonna kind of you usually when we see coaches get fired, you get like you get a bump from the interim coach for a couple weeks. Like guys are excited to play for him. So for that reasoning, I'll go Virginia Tech. I think they can. The crowd's gonna the crowds always get fired up for an interim coach. Teams always get fired. Like it always juices up a program. Like we had it with Cadillac Williams at Auburn here a couple of years ago. Like programs love to get juiced up for an interim coach. You make a change, the players rally for that coach. And I think Virginia Tech can hang on to that for that energy for at least another week. And so for that reason and the fact they're at home, I'll go with Virginia Tech.
Yeah, I'm also going Virginia Tech. I think Wake Forest is going to kind of have a letdown game, very emotional game last week. And Virginia Tech kind of on the up, despite firing their coach. I think they got some momentum here. It's a very winnable game. I think both teams know that. I think Virginia Tech just comes out, on top, enter Sandman.
Yeah, Enter Sandman is. If it was a night game, I'd have picked Tech. Excuse me, gosh. Thank you. Next game, we got the expensive bowl. We have App State hosting Oregon State. Tickets for that game are ridiculous. I looked at them for fun a little bit ago. Ridiculous. But I mean, I understand App State fans show out. But App State has not looked very good this year. They've just looked okay. Oregon State's done. I mean, been done decent. They have a decent game against Oregon.
They've no. They've had some closer games than expected. They played really good opponents. They are 0-5, however.
Yeah, they did get. Let's see, Fresno beat them, Cal beat them, Texas Tech beat them.
They covered against Oregon.
They covered against Oregon. It was a 34-point game where they covered.
Hey,
Lord.
Good teams win. Great teams cover.
They just lost in overtime against Houston. Yeah, I think Oregon State is the pick here. I think both teams are really underperforming. I don't even know what the spread of this game is, but I have it right here. It is. I lost it. 1 second.
I want to say maybe 2.5, maybe Oregon State.
It is App 1.5.
Oh, it switched. Oh,
App is favored. Wow.
3-point swing.
Oregon State's going to cover. Great teams cover. But they're going to win it too. They're going to win it outright.
I'll go with App State here, man. That's a cross country road trip. Like Oregon State's bad. Like they're not. I mean, they played well last week, but they're a bad team. And that cross country road trip, like that's hard. Like App State, like that's a pretty big opponent. Even though I know Oregon State's not like a powerhouse or anything, but that's a big opponent. A different opponent for them to get there, and that's going to be a fired up crowd. So I'll go with the home team and say App State wins. I can't. It's hard to pick Oregon State against anybody the way they've looked this year.
Yeah, it's going to be an insane atmosphere in Boone. I guarantee it, because they're going to get jacked up. They probably have no idea Oregon State's 0-5. They just see the name, they see the brand, they think Pac-12, the glory days, and they're going to for them they're going to be amped up, they're going to be juiced. It's going to be unreal, dude. I wish I could go as like a neutral fan and just experience that. But like you mentioned, going across the country is really hard. App State just did the same thing. They just went to Boise. They actually flew in on Friday, which I can't believe they flew in that late.
Yeah, no.
And they didn't really competitive for a little bit. Boise State ran away at the end. How I picked App State in the preseason, so which means it's almost an App State lock because I'm gonna switch. I'm gonna go Oregon State. I think Oregon State has looked slightly better, and I just don't think that this App team can kind of play up to any expectations or hype at this point. It's just really odd to say, but the last couple of seasons of the App has really been downhill. We also skipped Campbell and NC State.
Oh, I apologize. I was looking at
Which
ticket
I
practice.
think we're all picking NC State. I think
Do we have
can
to talk
all.
about NC State has looked terrible the last couple of weeks. After starting off hot, Campbell lost like by 40 to ECU. NC State.
Would be
Yeah.
funny.
It would be awesome.
I won't be going with the Camels.
I hope that the Camels win. That'd be incredible.
What's the
Would
spread
be
on that
awesome.
game?
Well, I'll tell you right now. Give me 1 second. What's the spread on that game? It's awesome. There's no spread. It's the only game here without a spread. I'm not even kidding.
FCS games won't have. FCS doesn't have spread usually until the day of.
It's probably going to be like NC State minus 48 or something like that.
I think, dude, low key, I think it might be like a 28.5 or a 31.5. Because I mean, unless the bettors in Vegas is looking at a different state team than I have the last few weeks,
I want crazy. So you were saying you think it's gonna be 20.5 point spread? That's the spread on Georgia hosting Kentucky.
I'll say if it's over 40 points, I will be taking Camel to cover or because I love those 40 plus point underdogs to take them to cover because it's like they can not score a point and cover those games a lot. Like I've hit quite a few of those. I hit Villanova to cover against Penn State. I don't know if you guys saw the end of that game a few weeks ago.
A one-handed catch. It was awesome.
Yeah, they covered on that play, which was insane. Like I've hit I love taking those 40 plus point dogs to cover. So yeah, I remember I took Citadel plus 56 against Clemson last year, and that covered easily.
Yeah, that one's crazy. But yeah, no, I guess I mentally skipped that one because we're all picking the same one. The next one I'm curious because I know that Cody's gonna pick Coastal because he picks him every week. But I don't know what you do. We got Coastal traveling to Virginia to play Old Dominion. Last time they traveled to play a Virginia opponent, didn't look so good. ODU has looked very good. They might be the favorites to win the Sun Belt, at least Sun Belt East. It's them and James Madison, the other Virginia Sun Belt team. I picked ODU. I don't know how good Coastal is. I wanted to be like, oh yeah, they're not very good. But these last few weeks have changed how I feel about them because ECU hadn't looked bad. Virginia just beat Florida State. And Coastal didn't look good against Virginia, but I thought Virginia wasn't that good. I thought they were lower to mid-table in the ACC. They have a path to win the ACC. This late in the season. That hasn't happened in years for them. And then they went and they handled South Alabama. They covered the opposite way. They 38 points against the spread for that. I don't know if they're good. I don't know if South Alabama's just that bad, but South Alabama played some good games against some good teams too. So, they look decent against Auburn at least to start the game. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I imagine you watched that game, Travis. I mean,
oh yeah.
I don't know how good Coastal is. We will know a lot about Coastal after this weekend. I will feel a lot more confident in my picks after this weekend talking about them. But I think they might have just had a rough out-of-conference schedule. And maybe they had a bad game against Southern, and that was just, they didn't play very well, and they switched quarterbacks, and it was a whole thing. I don't know. Maybe Tad Hudson is the truth. I went with Old Dominion. I would love to be wrong. God, I would love to be wrong. If I'm wrong, Coast's winning the East. That's all. I mean, it's simple as that.
I'm gonna take ODU there. Yeah, ODU's been playing good ball. Like they're a solid team up there. Yeah, I like Coastal looked really bad the first couple weeks, but yeah, they've turned it around. But I like ODU's a good team. I'm gonna go with them to take care of business there.
Yeah, I think I saw a graphic. ODU the other weekend had like an 11.3 chance to make the playoff.
Yeah.
This is like kind of like their year to win the Sun Belt, and if they don't, they've kind of got issues. I'm gonna do some reverse psychology, since I love the Chants. In the preseason, I picked Coastal to what was it? I reversed it, whatever I did, but it worked last week. This week, I had them winning at ODU in the preseason. I had them losing at South Alabama last week. I'm going to switch it again. I'm going to go with ODU just because it just, almost solidifies Coastal winning. Just switching it. But but like you said, though, I do think ODU is probably one of the best teams in the Sun Belt. I wouldn't be shocked if ODU, obviously wins by, a couple scores here. But, because I went to school there and, very dedicated, I hope Coastal wins. I hope I'm wrong again. If I'm wrong again, I'll just keep doing it. If that's what it takes, I'll sacrifice a point. I'll do that. I'll do that for Coastal.
I won't. I want to win. Am I still winning? I haven't looked since we updated
No,
it.
so actually, I'm glad you mentioned that. So the standings currently, I actually went off last week.
Yeah, you picked a lot of the upsets that I did not pick.
I now have the sole possession of lead. I'm 34-12. You are 33-13. Cody is 29-17. Actually, no, I'm not a sole possession. I lied. I'm actually tied with Josh. Josh had a good week last week too. He's also 34-12. Oh, nope. I am dyslexic. I got the 4 and a 2 backwards. He is 32-14, so I do have sole possession.
I'm beating Josh.
Chase is struggling, 26-20. Inside Carolina is 32-14, and CFB home 29-17. So I do have a lead game over you, Evan, and we have disagreed on one so far.
Coastal.
No, Virginia. I went ODU. So Virginia Tech and Wake. And then we're gonna disagree here in a little bit. Don't you worry.
Oh yeah, I actually don't know. I think I picked the Panthers. We'll talk about that in a minute. We got one more college game though. Another cross country travel. We got Duke traveling to Cal for a night game. I think you were talking about travel with Oregon State, the app. I think going from west to east is easier than east to west because of I'd rather your app is going to be like 3 a.m. I'm sorry, Duke is going to be like 3 a.m. when they kick off. Not really, but your 7 p.m. kickoff is really like 10 p.m. here. So it's going to be more of a.
It's 7:30 there, 10:30 here.
Yeah, so it's like a later game for you. While when you come over here, it's like for like a 2 or 3 p.m. kickoff, it's like you're kicking off at noon. Like it's not as big of a time difference in that.
It's like regard. USC went to Illinois last week, and it was 9 a.m. USC time.
Yeah, so that if you're playing it at night, it's harder going from east to west. You're playing in the morning, it's harder going from west to east. So this game is going to be really hard for Duke. Duke has been so hit or miss this year. They've been an interesting team. They're a team that will throw a wrench in our picks every week, I think. Because I'm picking them to lose. I can see them winning. Next week, I can pick them to win, and I can see them losing. It's just they're a very wishy-washy team.
I mean, they just beat the shit out of Syracuse last week. That was crazy.
Which none of us picked. None of us.
I did.
You did. But a lot of us picked Syracuse. So I don't know. See, I thought they were going to lose that game, and then they won. So now I thought they were going to win this game, and I'm like, no, I'm going to pick Cal. So hopefully that's some reverse psychology on myself. Give me the California Fighting Bears.
Oh, you're switching.
I picked Cal in my pick.
No, you picked Duke.
No,
unless I put it in wrong.
You put it in wrong.
No.
It says Cal right here.
Oh, rip. Just dyslexia, man. The C and the D and the the A and the U just kind of you're just slipping around. Maybe just assume we're all picking Duke. I don't know.
So Travis.
I don't know. This one's tough. 'Cause Cal's undefeated, but they haven't looked great. And I don't know. Like you said, Duke's just. I hate the ACC so much for making Duke a thing we have to pay attention to every year. Like I'm just like
They're always
it's
just good
like,
enough.
I don't want to pay attention to Duke. Like get them off my radar. But I don't know. I feel like Cal's due to like. I mean, they've been sneaking by as an undefeated, but I mean, it's like who you beat matters. But yeah, I mean, I don't. After Duke, the way they whooped up on Syracuse last, yeah, I'm gonna take Duke here. It's a tough road trip, like you mentioned, but I'll go with Duke here.
Yeah, I mean, the Calgorithm at 10:30 at night, 7:30 local time over there in Berkeley. It's a crazy atmosphere. It's a wild atmosphere.
Remember game day. Game day was awesome.
Yep. Last year we had the Miami Cal was on our picks, and Miami had the ungodly comeback of the century against the Calgorithm. Duke is led by a former Miami head coach and defense coordinator, Manny Diaz. California is gonna see another loss to another Miami Hurricane. I got Duke defeating the Calgorithm.
Calgorithm. Okay. Was I the one who picked Cal for that one, or did everybody else pick Duke?
Yeah. Yep. You're the only. You and CFB Home are the only ones to pick Cal.
We know ball.
So me and you have now differed twice.
Okay. Well, we're gonna split it, and I'm gonna be down a game still. So what's gonna happen? And we're gonna screw one more time actually. And I don't know. So we're picking the NFL game because Hayden is a Dolphins fan. I'm a Panthers fan, and the Dolphins are going to be in Carolina to play the Panthers. And I want to read you. He texts our the graphics every week, and we reply with our picks so you can make the graphic. My response was, I don't know how either team can win, but give me the Panthers. That was before Tyreek Hill snapped his leg in half. I think you get one of two things happening. Either the Dolphins are dejected after losing Tyreek. They haven't looked that good. Their defense looked terrible. And they suck. Or they rally and they play out of their minds. They have like the second or third worst passing and rushing defense. Panthers are like 6th and 7th, ish. I think the Panthers running game is going to look decent. Give the ball to Chuba Hubbard. Rico Dowdle is going to have a good game. Bryce Young has actually been decent this year. It's just the defense sucks. Might be a lot of points scored this game. I just think that I don't know. I don't know what I think. The Panthers suck.
How did the Panthers shut the Falcons out? That's going to end up being the weirdest result of this NFL season. How the hell that happened?
I don't know, man. This would be where they do really well, though, because they do that with the Falcons. Maybe it's like every other week they'll do good. Give me the Panthers because I got to pick the Panthers because I'm a Panthers fan. And we need to pick differently here. I could see if the Panthers won by 30, I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense. And if the Dolphins won by 30, I'd be like, yeah, that also makes sense. If that makes any sense.
No, it's a tough game to pick. I totally understand where you're coming from. I don't know. Because, the Panthers pitched a shutout 2 weeks ago, and then they just got mowed down by the Patriots last week. And I don't think the Patriots are that great either. And, especially on defense, they haven't played
Drake
well.
Jesus. They're great. That's what I'm going to go with. The Patriots are awesome. And
I hope you're right. I'm a Patriots fan. I hope you're right. I hope you're right. I'm going to take the Dolphins here just based off the Panthers team I watched last week. And the Dolphins haven't been great, but they've also, they were scrappy against the Bills. They took care of business against the Jets yesterday. I think the Tyreek Hill has the opposite effect of what you're talking about. I don't think he's a popular guy in that locker room. Yeah. And he's been a cancer. And I think now that he's gone, the team morale, not having that distraction to deal with him anymore, is going to help them a lot. I think you're going to see Jalen Waddle step up and get the ball a lot more. You saw Darren Waller get involved last week. Yeah. So, I'm going to go with the Dolphins here.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. That was gonna be one of my points. Is that he verbally does not want to be at Miami,
He was
and
smiling like
yeah,
what he
he
did.
smiled like he
That
said
was that
yes.
was that was genuinely the fent. They definitely gave him fentanyl for the pain. Like
Yeah,
genuinely, they do that. They give you I get like a quick hit of it to get rid of the pain. He was definitely high as a kite and also in shock on the way out of there. Did y'all see the video of the ambulance? Someone was
Yeah,
behind his ambulance.
like,
He was laughing at the ambulance. It was crazy.
yeah. No, he wants out of Miami. He's a cancer. I think Miami's gonna play great now that he's gone. Being that I've played football my entire life, when you play with guys that don't want to be there, it shows. And then once they're off the team, they click. I mean, but I've been to 3 Carolina Panthers games my entire life. They're undefeated. They beat the Redskins. They beat the Texans last year. They beat the Dolphins in the preseason. Um, the Dolphins, they're not as bad when I see them in person. Um, I've only seen them twice, and they're 500. I've seen them in the preseason. Preseason doesn't count. But this is the 4th time ever that in franchise history the Miami Dolphins were going to Charlotte. That's why tickets are way more than what they should be, even with Tyreek Hill being out. They're down to about $50 now, which is great. They were in the 70 range, which
Yeah,
was outlandish
people
for
want to see
for
Tua
this.
play.
Yeah,
Tua
I
turned
want
the
to
ball over.
I want to see Tua play, and I think he's going to go to Waddle a whole bunch. And I think I actually see a team from the 305 win a football game.
Maybe that'll happen. I don't know. I hope not. Maybe I don't know what I know anymore when it comes to the NFL. I don't know ball in that regard.
It's hard to pick.
I know ball, but I don't. I feel like the Panthers get involved, and it's like I don't know anymore.
Well,
We
no,
got
no.
one more game. One more game. It's the college game day game where they're gonna be. They're gonna be in Alabama.
Oh, they're not at Florida State.
They're not at Florida State.
Oh, they lost, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. And Florida State fans are still mad they're not there, which is hilarious.
Yep.
It's hilarious. They're in Tuscaloosa for an SEC
Bitch.
powerhouse battle. A powerhouse. Two juggernauts in the SEC. We got Alabama, we got Vandy. And you know what, dude? There was a guy at my pharmacy yesterday in a Vanderbilt hat, and I've never seen that before. And I'm like, you go to Vanderbilt? He was like, yeah. I'm like, I think they're gonna win this weekend. He was like, yeah. I don't think they're gonna win this weekend. I don't think they beat Bama last year. A lot of the guys are still on the roster. I don't think they want to lose to Vandy again. It was an embarrassing loss for them. They had to have heard about it all year. That this game has probably been circled on their thing, which is crazy. That's a game you're circling. But I mean, I love Diego Pavia. I think if they win this game, Diego Pavia should be number 1 in the Heisman. Genuinely speaking, I hope that they win. I hope Vandy wins. It'd be awesome if they won. I would rather be wrong and have that team win. But I just think that this is genuinely a game that they've had circled on their schedule. Like, we got to win this game, especially in Tuscaloosa. But God, what would it do to college football if Bama loses to Florida State, who's lost to Virginia, then goes in and beats Georgia and then loses to Vandy? You would have to rank Vandy above Georgia and Alabama. How awesome is that? How awesome would that be in the rankings? They'd be the number 1 team. I mean, it would be your 2 best teams in the SEC would be Ole Miss and Vandy. That'd be awesome. Dude, I want that to happen. The SEC, they would collapse. It would be incredible. That's all I can say.
I'm gonna be real simple and quick about this one, and I'll let Hayden get to it. I'm picking Vandy just because I don't want a graphic with Alabama associated with my name. So War Eagle. That's all I gotta say. And yeah, I'm picking Vandy simply because I don't want you guys to publish a graphic with my name and an Alabama logo associated with it.
I'll never pick Michigan, so don't feel bad.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. Funny story about Vandy and Alabama. Last year when I was in North Carolina, cooked up a 16-leg parlay of games I thought were automatic locks. However, I was working the Coastal Carolina football game last year, and you cannot bet in South Carolina. So I could not log in the FanDuel because it picked up my location. I wanted to cash out the bet. It was 16 locks. Like, just every game that, teams that should win by 30, I picked those. And just because I stacked up 16 of them, like a $10 bet turns into like plus like 3,200 still. Like still, really good money. However, one of those on my parlay was Vandy, Alabama. I wanted to cash out so bad, but I couldn't because I just had a feeling Vandy was going to win. Vandy did. Vandy cooked my parlay last year, so give me Alabama.
I respect that. I have a funny story about that, about Alabama and one of those bets, and being out of South Carolina. I was in Ohio during football season, and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna cook up a college football bet, right? So I'm picking games. I'm like, oh, so like I said, it was like 17 or 18 games, like with a bunch of locks like that, right? And I'm picking, and I do it, and the odds are crazy. I'm like, oh, this is really good odds for what the games I picked, right? All the teams won, and I'm looking at it. All the locks, it was early in the season. All the locks were the home teams. It was when Miami was at USF, and then USF was up late, and if they won that game, I would have won like 10 G's off like $15, like 10 G's, and like it's my grandpa's funeral. Like, and it's the after thing at the church where they make food, and I'm just sweating this game like basically at a funeral, like sweating. Like I think the final score was like 16-9. Like it was close. Like it was close, and it was a low scoring game. And I did it on accident because like I said, I was picking on, like, you just clicked on the home teams because it was like early in the season, and that's all the home teams were favored. Like it was like USF is never not in Tuscaloosa, but they were this time, and it was just funny.
Oh, Bama, South. I thought for whatever reason I thought you said Miami and South Florida. I was like,
No,
Miami did lose to South Florida. But when I was like in high school, I was like, you were betting in high school, badass baller.
no. This
But
was
yeah.
2022 when Bama went to
Yep,
South Florida,
yeah.
and it was like 16-9 late.
Yep.
It was like 3-3 in the third quarter. I remember that game.
And then
I was at Bristol that night. I remember that game.
And I think that was relatively near when the Citadel was tied with Alabama at halftime.
Yeah,
Might have been that year. But I only got two things to say when I sign off here. I gotta go teach kids in the morning. Long live Alan Kowicki. Long live the Carolina Mudcats.
All the Carolina Mudcats. Thank you so much for watching. Travis, thank you for being here. You great guest. Very knowledgeable in NASCAR. It's fun to hear you talk about it. I'm learning stuff. It's great. Go Sports. I don't know how to sign these off. I'm terrible. I make videos regularly, and I can never sign them off properly. But yeah, go the Carolinas. Go Sports. Go the Roval. I don't know. And go Hornets. Beat the Thunder on Sunday. See you.
Hell yeah.